It's the Milton Keynes Model Railway Society Model Railway Exhibition 2024. We begin the exhibition at Framingham, an O-gauge layout presented by the Milton Keynes Model Railway Society. Framingham is a fictional station on a preserved railway line somewhere in the southeast. There are a few sidings in the station, but not much shunting is going on. Once there was a connection to a narrow gauge line which brought material from a nearby quarry. The loading ramp still has the narrow gauge track on. The signal box at the station building have been refurbished recently. The Preservation Society is proud of the signal box, which controls mainline points and signals. The station building is Great Central Line style, with a footbridge and an island platform. Rolling stock is mainly BR, but as it is a preserved line, all kinds of visiting stock can be seen. Short passenger trains, as well as an auto coach, are serving the visitors. The layout is an end-to-end style. The control is DCC. Points and signal control are done by Megapoints Controller. We finish our visit as a pannier tank rolls out with a short passenger train. We now move to 009 gauge, Northwood Bay by Brian Key. Northwood Bay is the terminus of a fictitious branch of the Linton and Barnstaple Railway, running from Paracoon. It lies somewhere between Woody Bay and Lee Bay. The layout is set in the 1930s in the Southern Railway era, but some stock still retains its old Linton and Barnstaple livery. Through trains are also to be seen from the equally fictitious Minehead and Lynmouth Railway. Here we see a Baldwin arrive with a freight train. As in the platform, a passenger service, also in the hands of another Baldwin, awaits departure. It's not too long, and the signal clears, guard blows his whistle, and the train is away. We move to Son of Foxborough in N-gauge, presented by the Silver Fox Model Railway Club. Son of Foxborough is an N-gauge British outline DCC layout owned and operated by the Silver Fox MRC. It's an exhibition-light version of Foxborough, which is normally based in their Wolverton clubhouse. The original layout was configured on 2 levels with the scenic and storage areas connected by 2 helixes. Although technically transportable, it would need expensive van rental, so they have redeveloped a more easily transportable version, which can be moved in by members' vehicles. Son of Foxborough utilises the original straight scenic boards connected by new partially scenic end corner boards to a set of new storage yards at the back. They run a mix of late steam early diesel traction with a mix of passenger and freight rolling stock. Here we see an overview of the station before we get the opportunity to watch a HST thunder by with an express. Staying in N-gauge, we come to Ridgmont, presented by the Kempston Model Railway Club. The layout depicts Ridgmont Station and surrounding area on the Bedford to Bletchley line. The station buildings are scale models of the buildings that exist today. The brickworks is only a depiction of what was the Marston Valley Brick Company before London Brick Company took over in the 1960s. I know this area well and recognised it instantly, so it's a great job that they've done here. I'd also like to thank the members who allowed the boy to run his new purchase, as seen here, wandering around the layout, to test it before going home. So thank you very much for that. We finish our visit to Ridgmont by observing an LNER WD280 pulling some cement wagons through the countryside. This is Tom's Bridge Junction, and is also in N-gauge. It's presented by Paul Sutcliffe. It's somewhere in west central England, based loosely on a mix of GWR and NMS. There is a time shift variation that sees anything from steam trains to diesel locomotives and a mix of DMUs. The layout was originally built as a fundraiser for children's brain cancer and in memory of the builder's grandson, who died aged 10 years. The charity has raised over £13 million since its inception. Due to the owner having some illness, this is the layout's first outing and exhibition since it had been acquired. The volunteers running the layout are learning how to operate it for the first time, so you'll have to bear with them. We now move to Green End in 009 by David Gander. Green End represents the terminus of a narrow gauge common carrier line and draws inspiration from the Welsh Pole and Llanfair Light Railway. The layout was started in the early 1990s and was designed to sit on top of a run of Swedish bookcases, thus taking up no extra space in the room. Originally, the layout was anticipated to be freight only, as was the Welsh Pole and Llanfair in its later days. However, as time has moved on and suitable kits and 3D prints have become available, it now operates a passenger train or two, as well as the odd freelance vehicles suitable to the ethos of the layout. Much of the stock is provided by the owner's good friend and co-operator, Stephen Sullivan, to whom many thanks must be given. At last, some OO gauge, I hear you cry, as we approach Giffard Lane by Daniel D. Giffard Lane is a small layout of a prototypical refuelling point for diesel traction, although at the moment you can see there's a bit of tamper work going on. That is mighty impressive. The two stabling points are also electrified to allow overhead traction to be stabled on them between duties. Giffard Lane is a fictional location in the northwest of England, just off the west coast main line. It is DCC controlled, with almost all locals being fitted with sound to bring the layout to life. It operates the layout with a Z21 DCC system and the use of mobile phones as controllers via the Z21 app. Also on the layout, you might find Mr. Bean with his teddy standing by his car, and if you look closely on Giffard Lane, you might spot where's Wally hiding. But it's not just fictional characters hiding on this layout. You might recognise this chap. He's got about 3 million followers on TikTok. I think I've just found Francis Bourgeois. For a bit of nostalgia, Bowler's Croft was again present at the show, exhibiting the ranges of Orby 00 and red models of days gone by. It's time to go overseas, and we're going to visit Austria. This is Klapping, a HO gauge layout by Michael Rao. The OBB station at Klapping is a truncated terminus station. The line is electrified using catenary, and what an amazing sight that catenary was too, I must say. Look at it, it's immense. There's an additional diesel freight feeder line together with a goods yard, also using diesel traction, maximising the operational interest. In fact, here you can see steam, diesel and electric all running side by side. The local Steam and Nostalgia Preservation Group also make use of the branch to move locos onto the main OBB metals. Period portrayed is 10 years backward from the day of the exhibition, allowing the owners to show off a wide range of OBB locomotives and rolling stock. We now come to Roadwater in EM gauge, presented by Steve Walker, and here we see a Prairie arriving with a B set into the platform. Roadwater is shown as a terminus on a might-have-been truncated branch line. Although Roadwater once had a railway running through it, it was closed in 1910. Instead, the owner here has changed history and has made the railway stay open, which has a junction at Washford on the Taunton to Minehead branch. The buildings are all kit built, some modified. The track is laid to EM gauge standards and is built by hand in some cases. Rolling stock is largely kit built, but there are some modified ready to run. And now we come to East Ansity in N-gauge, presented by Wayne Webb. The layout is based on East Ansity Station on the North Devon line, or otherwise known as the D&S, Devon and Somerset. The railway ran between Taunton and Barnstaple. East Ansity opened in November 1873 until closure in October 1966. The goods yard closed in September 1963, and passenger services carried on for another 3 years until closure. The station master's house, station and goods shed remain as private dwellings. The Colette 060 departs with the passenger service, and a little while later we manage to catch an auto coach working from a different point of view.
And you see how tiny the picnic benches are in benches. And there's a way to
Now we tick off another country from places I had never seen a model railway from there before. This is Chechnya, and the layout is called Dobris. It's HO gauge and presented by Ian Lampkin. The station Dobris is anything but scenic and is set in a very industrial area of the town. The owner recalls that they travelled in a four-wheel trailer hauled by a diesel loco. Upon reaching Dobris, one of these trailers was shunted into a siding, presumably to work back on a train later that day. There was also a loco and breakdown next to the goods shed with numerous wagons loaded with timber in the sidings, much like what can be seen here. Apart from a heavily modified kit for the station building, the rest of the buildings are scratch built. Track is Pico Code 83, rolling stock is mainly from Rocco, Turning, Baramos and NTB. Most locos and rail cars have sound decoders installed. The layout is operated using Digitrack's command station. While shunting is carried out in the yard, we manage to catch a glimpse of a diesel railcar departing the station. Now we move on to something that I think is needed more on the exhibition circuit: Network Southeast themed layouts. This is Dunsfold Road in 00 gauge, presented by Steve Saxby. Also known as Lockdown Project Number 2, Dunsfold Road was started in late 2017 on a baseboard that was crying out for a micro-stroke branch line scene. An idea was developed to become a secondary route on the outer edge of southwest London as a link between Guildford and Horsham. The principle was for a station at the fringes of the third rail electrification network, which served as an interchange where passengers would change to a DMU for onward travel, a legacy of funding restrictions that always plagued BR. They've also included a small factory on the old station site that is served by short speedlink feeder service, and a branch that supplies a nearby airfield with aviation fuel. Another delightful 009 layout now. This is Smallbridge Junction by Dale Gillard. Smallbridge Junction is an imaginary small junction connecting the branch line to Wood Warehouse. The station today is hosting the Mini Owners Club in the car park. All the tracker points are Pico. Locos are made in kit built, mini trains and backmen. Now we come to St Pancraz in Steiermark, a HO gauge layout presented by Mike Upton. St Pancraz in Steiermark is the terminus of a branch line in the Steiermark region of Austria. Trains on the line are operated by the Austrian Federal Railway, ÖBB, or the private Steiermark Landbahn, STLB. Traffic consists mainly of wood trains serving the local timber industry, with additional freight consisting of tankers supplying heating oil to the local population and vans to the goods shed. Passenger trains are in the hands of DMUs, rail cars or hold stock. The branch is also popular with rail tour operators, which frequently visit, bringing an interesting variety of steam locomotives to the line. The layout is set in a broad time period from the mid-80s to the present day. The last of the summer has gone and autumn is giving its colourful display. Soon the area will see the first frosts of winter, but for now, under a cloudless sky, the station basks in the warmth of the late October sun. And we finished the exhibition on the Snowy River Railroad, an ON30 gauge layout presented by the Daventry Model Railway Club. I hope you've enjoyed this video, but don't forget it's not just videos I do nowadays. I also do a podcast with Emperor's Path. It's called the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. It can be found on this YouTube channel or on Spotify or anywhere else you can get your podcast. If you have liked this video, then please click the like button. If you want, then please click the subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Oh, you're still here. Why not watch another of my videos? Or even go through one of the playlists? Or how about the podcast?